entertainment fans? This is Chris Bolts, and I'm coming in with a video on an interesting topic that has been making the rounds for quite some time, not just in recent memory or anything like that, but the impact of women upon male franchises. Now, this is an article from Geeks and Gamers that is doing an expose on a recent debate on a film thread. Do women understand male franchises? Now, the curator of Film Thread happens to be Chris Gore, and Chris Gore famously had brought out a tweet which basically said that make Marvel male again. And then another one he was also ascribed to is saying that one of the greatest things that will happen in entertainment history will be the feminization, and I'm just summarizing here, the feminization of male brands to their detriment. And to an extent, he's certainly correct about that one here. And I won't watch the video right here or anything like that, but if you want to go ahead and watch that video, I will link it in the description. And I wanted to actually talk about a certain tweet that brought all of this about. And it's from this guy right here, Bill Holt. Opinion: women killed Star Trek, women killed Star Wars, women killed the MCU, women killed DCU, and so on and so forth. I wanted to talk about that here in just a bit. But before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. Now, there is some truth and a little bit of misconception here on the part of Bill Holt's tweet. And the point is, a lot of these franchises were helmed by women for a little bit, but at the same time, some of them were helmed by men. Like, for instance, Star Trek, that's from I want to say his name was Stan Kurtzman. Maybe, but either way, his last name is Kurtzman. Star Wars, that definitely was Kathleen Kennedy. The MCU was held by Kevin Feige. The DCU prior to James Gunn was helmed by men. A woman is at the helm of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, but Jeff Bezos famously said he wanted his own Game of Thrones, and he thought he saw that in Lord of the Rings, which is stupid. James Bond, that is being curated by a woman as well. Indiana Jones is part of Lucasfilm, which is helmed by Kathleen Kennedy. Then we just go on and so forth right here. Witcher, that was Natasha Henstridge. Sandman, that's I don't know who the showrunner was on that. Ghostbusters was Paul Feig. Terminator, that was actually destroyed by the creator, James Cameron. Alien was kind of messed up by Ridley Scott. Predator, Dan Trachtenberg, he definitely does not understand that. He feminized it. Men in Black, Mad Max is George Miller. Monarch, Godzilla, I don't know what he's talking about on this one right here or anything like that. And Charlie's Angels, I think that was Paul Feig too. And Women in Gays, Doctor Who and whatnot, that was Robert T. Davies. So a lot of these actually were led by men. I would say weak emasculated men, weak feminized men, but at the same time, they all tried to cater all of these brands towards women. And let me just tell you something right now. When it comes to the action genre, action movie genre, science fiction, fantasy, comic book movies, all that, the biggest consumer of all of those brands are always going to be men. And I would also throw anime off in there. I recall seeing I think it was an Instagram post from a girl who said that anime has taken off because girls was involved. Like, no, the majority of the consumer of anime is still going to be men. The majority of gamers is going to be men. All these nerd properties are mostly helmed by men because men enjoy those types of things. Women do not normally enjoy playing video games, don't like watching sci-fi or fantasy or anything like that. That's not to sit there and say that they will not partake in them, but they partake in what has been presented, not hoping that it actually gets geared towards them. I was looking at Nerdrotic earlier on his stream, and he opined that a lot of times women don't like seeing women in these action roles, and that's exactly correct. They've tried action heroes with women, female-led action hero movies. It just doesn't take off. a lot of women don't find any commonality with the girl boss. So a lot of these right here are they're helmed by men, but they were definitely geared towards women. Now there is one woman that I always sing the praises of because she did such a good job on the Penguin, and that's this lady right here, Lauren LaFranc. Lauren LaFranc is the showrunner for the Penguin, and if you guys have not seen the Penguin is phenomenal. You should definitely check it out. You won't be feeling like you're watching something that's associated with Batman. You will be actually watching something that's more in line with The Sopranos. And that's because Lauren LaFranc understood what people were looking for when they were watching the Penguin. If you go watch the movie The Batman, when you first get introduced to the Penguin, he seemed like he was a two-bit thug that was operating a club, and for the most part he was. And you see his growth in the Penguin from a two-bit thug club owner up into who he is today, the Penguin, who was a major crime boss. She understood the assignment. So if Netflix, once they finish their purchase of Warner Brothers, I really hope they give Lauren LaFranc the opportunity to go off in there and write a Batman procedural. So it is not always true that women ruin everything, although I would always be wary of women being helmed in the roles just for the sake that they're women. Oh, I got this position because I'm a strong female woman and I'm the first woman to do this, the first woman to do that. No, Lauren LaFranc, she really showed her chops with this. And then we also have other women throughout history that, use history in the grander scheme of things, that have contributed positively as writers. We got J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame, Anne Rice, Agatha Christie. Those women are extremely talented writers. And then over in the video game space, we have Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig is a really good writer for video games. She helmed the Nathan Drake Uncharted series, Legacy of Kain, and even worked on the first Last of Us. So a lot of women can contribute so long as they put the property and story first before they actually go in there and put forward any type of agenda. That's pretty much one of the problems with all of these right here. One of the most recent things that is getting just eviscerated, if we can go over here back to Geeks and Gamers, is Starfleet Academy. So much so that William Shatner had decided that, hey, you know what? I want to go ahead and come in and start taking over Starfleet Academy, which is absurd. And that's because this stuff right here is just beyond parody. Like, this is a clip from Stephen Miller, who happens to have enough time on his hands to not only be a part of the Trump administration, but also to be able to sit here and look at television. This is one of the clips that is part of Starfleet Academy. Let's go ahead and watch this for a moment.
Subspace instability may be creeping in, and we're the first to chart it.
These would make an excellent practical study module for the Spatial Harmonics Lab, Captain. All right. Well,
now, you see this right here. This is supposed to be a regimented, disciplined unit. Starfleet Academy is basically a military academy. What is this doing right here? This big overweight woman. And you can also even look over here. This big overweight woman, and then we got this little rinky-dink petite little looking thing right here. This is absurd. This is completely absurd. But if you're agenda driven first and telling a story is secondary to the agenda, then you have met the requirements right here. You have body positivity lesbian woman right here, body positivity black woman being included right here, and petite social justice activist head of the campus Karen woman right here. So all that right there, this is not what Star Trek has ever been about. So if you are more concerned about agenda than you are telling stories, then you go, of course, attach yourself to Star Trek or to Star Wars or to the MCU or to the DCU or Lord of the Rings or Ghostbusters or Charlie's Angels or Doctor Who, because you're there to tell that, you're there to propagandize first before you are there to tell a story and to entertain people. And that brings us to the last thing about all this putting women in charge of these properties. And at some point in time, the country will learn that you don't need to have women leading a lot of these things or whatnot, because their nurture will always take precedent over any type of need to actually run a profitable business or anything like that. Their need to nurture and to make sure everybody is represented and cared for. That's what women will first seek to do before putting out any to proper property. And that brings us to Nintendo. With the new CEO of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser, I believe, stepped down, and now we're going to have this woman right here, Devin Pritchard. She's going to be coming in and talking about things that she wants to go ahead and do for Nintendo, saying things like every dream matters, everyone deserves a chance to do meaningful and creative work in games and storytelling. No, they don't. No, you do not need to have every dream matter, and you do not need to have a chance to do meaningful and creative work in games and storytelling. No, you always hire based off merit, and not all dreams are good. Listening to Geeks and Gamers Daily, and Epic Mike brought up a good point that a lot of people in history had dreams, and they didn't turn out to be very forthcoming, those dreams and whatnot. So it's not something that we should actually go ahead and venerate. Let's listen to this message that she's about to speak right here from X.
And before anything else, I want to celebrate the New York Game Awards. 15 years of supporting the games industry, and in doing so, lifting up the voices, stories, and dreams of so many. This show connects people who are united by a shared belief that every dream matters, and that everyone deserves a chance to do meaningful and creative work in games and storytelling. The Playing with Purpose program supports the creators, the coders, the writers, and anyone else dreaming big to join this community and bring all that makes them unique. I'm excited to meet you, to hear those stories, and to learn from your journeys. And remember, like any good video game character, you're on an adventure, and every step you take matters. There are some gnarly bosses, sure, but also many good friends along the way who will support you, and powerful rewards for those who persevere. So keep believing, keep playing, and know that you truly belong in this game.
Okay, so you heard that right there. Now, when you hear something like that, it just makes you all worry all the same. Like, what do you mean that this community, everyone needs to have their dream matter and they have a chance to do meaningful and creative work in games and storytelling? What exactly does that mean you're going to have Nintendo do? Are you going to start picking and choosing winners and losers? I mean, this is absurd. So Nintendo is potentially going to be the next victim of a woman coming in and making changes to something that has already worked over time. And Nintendo's America, their track record has not been all that great. Metroid Prime 4, for example, was critically panned. It's one of the worst performing Metroid entries to date. And Jeremy makes a really good point right here. Trust is no longer automatic. It must be earned. And I'll go even further. You must always work to earn the trust of your customers. You just should not expect that simply because you have X property, customers are going to just line up and just say, yep, I'm going to go ahead and consume that product, because rest assured, that was the thinking here with Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars has a built-in fan base. They'll just come in and they'll consume whatever. It won't matter. Well, that turned out to be incorrect, because Star Wars is basically a dead brand at this point, as is Star Trek. The MCU is on last legs. The DCU doesn't know what's going on. Lord of the Rings of Power, nobody cares. James Bond, nobody cares. Indiana Jones, they just put that franchise on life support. The Witcher, nobody cares about that. In fact, The Witcher 4 is coming out with a girl boss. Well, I shouldn't say a girl boss or anything. The Witcher 4, it will be following Ciri. And there was some concerns about the way Ciri looked in that game, but now everybody's like, you know what, let's go ahead and we'll pull back and see what it's about and everything like that. But it's not holding out big hope for a lot of people. Sandman only lasted for 2 seasons. Ghostbusters, that brand was pretty much destroyed until they tried to retcon it with the original crew. Terminator, the dead brand. Alien is on life support. Predator, that's probably going back in the back burner after the atrocious performance of Predator Shitlands. Men in Black, nobody's heard anything about that series ever since that chick who plays Valkyrie was also cast in Men in Black, and she basically played the same exact position, the same exact role in both movies. An emotionless bitch. Mad Max, nobody cares. Monarch, Godzilla. If it's coming from Japan, Godzilla Minus Zero, everybody's anticipating that. But if it's coming from America, nobody cares for that shit. Charlie's Angel, nobody cares about that. And Doctor Who, that one is on life support too. So I'll just finish out with this right here at the last comment right here, which is from Mike Kelly. Feminism killed women, and that is exactly correct. Feminism has killed women, confused women, let a lot of these women that are in Hollywood think that they can just hijack a franchise and just put it out there and people will consume it. Well, they found out the hard way that nope, that is not correct. You still need to provide good storytelling with good characters. But those are my thoughts on the issue. You guys will jump down in the comments and let me know what you think. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolts signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.